Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast for the Next Generation. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host, and I'm happy to share that we have more than 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and these numbers increasing on daily basis. So I'm very happy about this, and I'd like to thank you for your support. And please like, share your thoughts on the YouTube channel, and let's grow our channel together. That's your channel. At the end of the day, we share educational content for current and next generation. And please continue your support and like and share our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Well, today I'm excited to welcome Eric Ciampoli from Eric Ciampoli Industrial Consultants. We'll be talking about tariffs, the latest about US American manufacturing, and other subjects. So let's welcome Eric. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
I appreciate it. Thank you for being with us. Well, since the last time we talked, which was the end of February, a lot has changed, and especially with regards to tariffs and other, developments in the with regards to the manufacturing. Uh, we all of us actually very curious about your insights. Let's start with tariffs. The effects of the tariffs on manufacturing, especially in this changing environment. How manufacturers can um, manage this change and adopt the tariffs and the next steps. If you can share your insights, that'd be great.
Right. Yes. So tariffs are now one of the probably the hottest topic in the news and in day-to-day business, particularly in manufacturing. And what a lot of people don't realize is it's nearly impossible to manufacture everything here. Even if you're building things in the United States, you're buying components, globally sourced components, and a majority of these things are coming from China specifically. Controllers, bearings, industrial parts, that's where they're coming from. So it's a very complex answer to say, what would the roadmap look like? It's my personal belief that the storm won't be that long, but there'll be a lot of waves in the process and a lot of wind. So not overreacting is key, because if you over respond and it's wrong, and overbuy, you end up with a lot of expensive inventory, and space is expensive and you don't want to waste it. So as far as answering what should manufacturers be doing to build a roadmap, it's like, well, if your parts go up, you need to look at how your operations running. So if you can't control the part cost, we need to control the cost of things that go into it, and particularly labor and utilization of floor space. If you have some time, you got to take a look at what you're doing, because your costs are going to go up, and when your costs go up, your margins go down, and it's hard to come back from that. The immediate squeeze is happening where things you ordered are hitting the ports now and getting tariffed that you didn't plan for. Adjusting customer pricing now is a little bit late. Some people can, some people can't. But certainly overreaction is, please don't overreact. It's likely to be, a period of uncertainty and high costs, but it's not going to last forever. There will be some type of solution. And in the long view picture of your global sourcing and global needs, it doesn't hurt to start looking regardless for consistency and short needs as local supplies that you can potentially find and narrow down and build a relationship with. So you spread your things around. All your eggs in one basket has always been frowned upon. And many companies, because the prices are so low and it's been such a great relationship for many of my clients, buying things from overseas. I mean, it's cheap and it comes and it is what it is. But what we learned from COVID is it may be a great relationship until something changes, and a new something changes come, and it's requiring people to rethink. Don't overreact, but it doesn't hurt to start setting up an alternative plan, even if tariffs go to zero, which is ultimately what would be great for the world, is if there was no barriers. But there's likely to be some type of thing, and why put things in a container if you can get smaller amounts from a supplier, a few hours away that you never bothered looking for? So expand your viewpoint from I need to get it here, from are there other sources? Now, not everything's available locally. That's the truth of the matter. But if it is, evaluate that relationship. It may be a new opportunity that you weren't pushed to try or to research for because you didn't have to.
Other than tariffs, Can you tell us about your insights with regards to commercial real estate? That's another
Hmm.
cost item for manufacturers, very
Yeah,
important.
yeah, we spoke
So,
about this.
yes, please tell us about it. What do you think?
This is my real fear. It's not tariffs. It's now tariffs will be what they're going to be, but if your rent prices are driving up and up and up every year, or you're at the end of your lease term and your landlord is looking for a 200% increase on your lease, this is the scary part. And it's what's happening throughout the tri-state area. COVID and the demand for warehouse space and commercial space ramped up the value of the real estate. A lot of people bought into it as good investments, and now the new owners are looking to recoup their investment costs. And you're seeing this all over the Northeast, not just New Jersey and New York, but even Pennsylvania. I have some clients with lease rates going from mid sixes or low eights up to $16 and $17 a square foot, which would not be the end of the world if it was a few thousand square feet. But we're talking 100,000 square foot, 200,000 square foot buildings that now you're getting these enormous rent increases, and it's devastating for a business. And even if you say, well, I don't like this deal, I want to pick up my factory and relocate it to a lower cost, it's that itself has enormous obstacles. It's doable, and I've done it many times, but it's not without consequences. You have your workforce to consider. Not everyone's going to drive an hour to come to your new location because it was cheaper, which is why those buildings and spaces are less expensive to begin with. Access to labor is important because you can't automate everything. So the cost of real estate is a really big deal right now for manufacturers, and particularly when you're in food. If you've got millions of dollars into your building with refrigerations and drainage systems and sanitation, you can't just pick it up and move it. You've got to build millions of dollars in infrastructure. And if you're lucky enough to find another place that already has it, you're also going to pay the premium there. It's a very hot topic, and I've got 3 live customers right now facing this situation with the lease end coming up in the next few months and substantial rent increases. Now, the good side of it is it seemed to have slowed down a bit, but anyone who has signed those agreements because they had no choice, you're now stuck in for 10 or 15 years more with this painful experience of you had no choice. And one is already feeling that they got a better deal than what the original thing was, but it's by no means a great position for the company to be in. And we're having conversations on where else can we go. And it, depending on what you do and where your market is, you can only go so far.
Yes, it's a critical decision. That's how
It's
it looks
scary.
like it. And well, the in our previous episode, we talk about AI and AI in general. So let's talk about AI from manufacturing point of view. Do you think AI will replace manufacturing jobs in the future?
I think AI will absolutely play a very, very critical role in manufacturing, but I don't see AI being that dominant on the production floor itself. It'll be there in information ways, but the people part and the automation part of making things, artificial intelligence is only going to go so far. It's the information systems that support it. That's where I really see it expanding. Is imagine you're running a shop today, you have someone entering lots of data in for a customer order, and you're digesting engineering drawings and trying to make a bill of materials make sense for production, and that's riddled with human error. So you have quantity mistakes, you have typos, you have location issues where it's just subject to a lot of time of someone to put that information together. And we're all human. If you're doing it all day, every day, you're only going to make so many mistakes per hour. And whatever those are, they don't usually get caught until it's already found. And when it's found in manufacturing, you're at the point of let's do some work and you have an issue or something doesn't fit or I got the wrong part. So AI is going to play a role because it needs to. We need to control the cost of goods. We can bring things back, but if the cost goes up, customers will find another option. So it's going to be a substantial part of the business. And when I say the business, I'm saying the administrative and the digestion, sharing, and computation of data. The put things together, that's where the robots come in. And even though so many things can be done there, but the artificial intelligence of, hey, let me drop something into this field and have it make sense for me. And then I use that to put into my ERP system. Or I get creative and I build something to streamline this where it'll scan the order and put it in for me. So I don't have to digest and assess things. I can do it quickly. And I see that becoming a very dominant role for AI, is just reconfiguring things. Now, I'm hoping it gets really good at scheduling and planning, because ERP systems are built, enterprise resource planning and materials. How much do I need? But it still relies on what people put into it. If the information in is old or bad, it doesn't give you a very good picture. I want to see AI take over the role of that very hard to figure out, of all the things I have now and all the things that are coming in and how much I have in stock. What can I do in the next 60 days? That's a very, very, very useful thing, but it's a very hard thing to figure out. A human can only assess so many reports per hour given on the data. And Kevin, reports are only as useful as the user's understanding of it. So I can look at a lot of
Yes.
reports, but still not be able to make any decision. What about if we can start using AI to take 50 reports and then make it useful? Now, that's something no human can do at the speed that AI can do. I use it all the time to assess financial statements. I use it to assess things. I'm like, hey, instead of reading this, 30,000 line something, give me a summary of it and the points that I need to know. I don't need to spend 3 or 4 hours to churn through each page to figure out where the good stuff is. Highlight the things I need to be concerned with. And yes, it's not perfect, but I get a lot shorter amount of information to assess and spend my time doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. Manufacturing moves a lot of data. And there's a lot of data in a manufacturing business, things that people don't
Yep.
realize. And it's not just parts and where does it go? It's lead times, their supply chains are complicated. I gave a sample one time. I explained to my wife, pick any item in the house, and I'll explain to you how complicated that supply chain is, all the way down to where the mineral comes from before the sheet metal or the steel gets made. And it's so deep. You need to understand your supplier supply chain in order to know when you're going to get something. AI, I'm sure, can help with this because it's a lot of data, and a human can only do so much. You can only understand so much. I use it all the time for things that I just don't have the time to read through. So I have it summarize it for me so I can make a decision. I really believe that AI is going to play a phenomenal role in that, because I could get the smartest person in the business to read that. And even if they do a good job at it, how much time is it going to take them to make one decision? Say, hey, you smart person, here's how we can use AI to make your job more efficient. Use the tool, get the information you need to make the decision, not spend hours collecting it from lots of data. I really believe that. As far as on the manufacturing side, maybe we can use it to let materials know in advance before the orders get released that we're going to need these parts over here so they can do it. Maybe that's going to be the wave of the future, is ERP systems that are AI driven without you even telling it what to do. I would love to see
Yes.
that, but it'd also be a little bit scary at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there will be quite an advancement. Nowadays, yeah, I mean, the ERP systems are complex by nature, and just
Mm,
like you mentioned, the humans they have to put data in it, and the
mhm.
collection is sometimes, in our experience, for example, you collect data sometimes from machinery equipment, you listen. So AI come a long way there, but it's just one part of the operation. So the
Yeah.
supply chain management, advanced plan and scheduling, which I have expertise in, still is a lot of data coming in from ERP, which happens to be manually, and then we pull
It's
it
very
and
manual.
utilize the data. Still, the AI part is coming up, but not there yet. Not there yet. So that's definitely something.
I'm looking
And
forward
planning,
to it.
and yeah, to your point, absolutely, I 100% agree. The planning and scheduling is one of the most complicated parts of manufacturing, because basically it
Yeah.
sets the direction, sets the supply chain requirements, as well as the labor, man, machine, and material, 3M, as we all know. So it's easy to say, but hard to manage in that sense. So absolutely, AI will be great
Yeah.
in that sense. I mean, it's getting there in terms of the direction, still far ahead. So we'll see. I mean, You mentioned about robots. Do you think robots, which we are already using robots, it's not something
Oh,
new
everywhere.
fundamentally, it's just gonna be, you think it's gonna be also going into the small and mid-size
Yes.
manufacturing as well, you think?
It already is, and I
Hmm.
think that even if we're successful at reshoring jobs or reshoring the product's production, I should say, not just the job, but the product will now be made on US soil. That's great, but you still got to be competitive. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, the thing you used to buy for $100 is now $400," because that's just what it costs. Customers are not going to tolerate that. It'll disappear quickly. Nobody likes that. So they're going to find alternatives. The way I see automation itself is being number one, lean manufacturing. This time you're wasting and energy you're wasting now and things you're not getting done because you're just not using all of your resources effectively. I've won this $1 bet with many clients. They say, "What can you tell me that I don't already know?" And I said, "I bet you $1 I'll find something you're missing." And I'm right most of the time. And we increase their production most of the time without even spending any money. Just stop wasting time. And I see automation taking the other parts of, if I can take a person and make them more productive, because there's only so many people that are going to be available to take these jobs. I need a robot to offset the things that take them too long to do. So I'm going to semi automate a process where if I have someone doing a mundane task or doing something, I'll build a monoblock style carousel system to put a part in it and the drill and it'll get drilled versus the person drilling the hole while they're doing other assemblies. So I can make the man to machine ratio cost effective where I don't have too many machines, too much money to get my output, and I'm going to take a person who's X amount of dollars per hour, whatever it might be, and make them more useful per hour and make more valuable items or create more value for the customer per minute, per hour, per day, per week. And now the automation is it's less of a boundary and more of a strategic change so that I can make more things without automating everything to the point where it's costly, because the more you automate it, the more it costs. And if you spend so much money on automation, you won't necessarily get return on investment fast enough. So semi-automation, I think, will be the first phase. Take the repetitive, non-value added or easily replaced activities, not jobs, but activities, and automate it so that a person can do more value added work with their time and their hands. Because putting small assemblies together, like, there's multi-access. Robots can do it, but a person can usually do it much faster than a robot can. And a person's very qualitative. So what can we take out of the person's task that's slow, sometimes like boring and painful? Take it out of their job. Let a machine do that part and let them get a piece that's ready to use. And now they put the assembly together or they add it to something. You know, not everything's automatable. That's what I try to tell customers. Yes, we can automate this, but not everything can be replaced. Let's start with looking at your operation as a whole. Let's take the waste out of it. Because how am I going to pay for these robots? I was like, for a little bit of our time, we can eliminate the waste, which will free up cash that you used to spend because you'll make more money. And then we can start investing that into automation. So it's a win-win. We eliminate the waste and use those funds to automate more of the waste out. And then we make people more productive. And the best part is, many times we even reduce the footprint. If we can reduce the footprint of your operation, that means you have room to grow. Or if you really don't need it, we can sublease it out to another manufacturer that really needs some space, right? And
Yes,
share the
yes,
cost, which I've done. I have several clients right now. We rented a building and shared the space.
makes
That's how
sense.
they
Yeah,
afford it, and they're growing.
yes. And to your point, when it comes to machine and machinery, they are never up 100%. They also need maintenance and taking care of too. That's another thing.
Yeah, and the more changes, the more change over time, and then the more
Hmm.
complexity, and then you need more mechanics. So you need technical people in manufacturing. It's not just mundane, screw something together. You need the support staff to keep these things going. And the more automation you add, if you've got a lot of robots in your building, you also need an automation engineer to keep them running.
That's true. That's true. And when it comes to maintenance, it can be really complex too and costly too. There's another practice right next
Parts
to
are
the
expensive.
manufacturing. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, when I go, talk to factories and manufacturing organizations in general, they have a whole deployed maintenance team just for maintenance. So that they are
Yeah.
basically working in the background, supporting the production team, right? So they are
Yep.
taking care
Keeping
of
the
the,
lights on.
yeah, absolutely, the mechanical maintenance, the electrical maintenance, the electronical software maintenance. These are all expertise areas that they need to implement, and it's a whole different practice running
Yeah.
parallel with
And great,
with the
great career
manufacturing.
opportunities for people that don't
Yes.
want to go to college and want to be technical. There is going to be a lot of robots and a lot of automation to babysit. And I say babysit, and if you've worked with robots, you'll know why I use that word. There's great opportunities there for professional mechanical babysitters to keep these machines in good behavior and good working order because they have their own personalities.
Yes. So let's shift our conversation a little bit towards role models. When I speak to business leaders like yourself, they typically have role models that they get help from, or they take them as an example to grow and evolve in their career journey. Do you have any role models that you like to share with us?
This is the not the first time I've been asked this, and I dug really deep trying to find someone I looked up to in business.
Mhm.
I did have a great relationship with the job I had while I was in college, and he was a great boss, and he was good to me and let me do what I needed to do. But as far as a mentor, I would actually say I've had the opposite. I've had bad bosses that taught me what not to do and who not to become. Because sometimes when you get disconnected from what it's like to be at the other end of the spectrum, you begin to forget what it's like to feel the burden of having to do something with limited time, limited tools, and maybe limited skills. It's like, hey, I need you to do this and I need you to do it now. And sometimes these requests, there's a lot of qualitative understanding of what's going on that's missing in the request. So I've had a few anti role models. I had an old boss at an industrial company that I worked at. I won't name them or him, but he was very motivational for me to even start my own business because I would everyday interaction, he was always trying to hold me back. And he's like, "You're not ready for this. You're not ready for this." And I'm like, "I already finished it. And here's the report of what worked." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not ready for this? It's done." "No, Eric, you don't understand. I would love to give you everything on my desk here." I'm like, "Half the stuff I already did." And it was very frustrating. And he would tell me over and over again that you're not ready, you're not good enough. And I'm not a person to just take no for an answer. I'm also a Leo, so I don't take no for an answer. I do it
Okay.
anyways. And I learned from him of imagine being a motivated person on the other end and everyone's saying you're not ready, you're not ready, don't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, you're not good enough. Why would you want to build that sense of doubt in anyone who works for you, making them feel like they can't do it? Aren't you supposed to do the opposite in your organization and build people up so that they're feeling confident and they're ready to grow and they're investing in themselves because you're believing in them? And it's a strange thing when you set the state of mind into one of positive and I can do this, you can do it. But if you got someone beating you
Yes.
down every day, it's not an employee I want working with me. I don't want to work at that place where I'm being suppressed. I want to grow. Yes, I might make a mistake, but I'm going to learn a lot from that mistake. And then the next time it's going to be even better than it would have been if I got it right the first time. I had one of those bosses. I had two actually, and one that was so afraid to stand up to his boss, he forced us to carry all his burdens. Not a pleasant experience. So we're all laughing behind his back while we're carrying his weight, even though the joke's on us. And I learned a lot from these bosses of, sometimes you have to say and do the right thing, but you don't always get an agreement or understanding what that is. And you start to lose sight of it. So I've learned a lot of what not to do. And I carry these things in my consulting and with these bosses who I kind of see as kind of matching that. I'm like, what kind of organization do you want to create for you and your business? And they'd be like, "Well, what do you mean? We need to be productive." I'm like, "Yes." But like I say in every training, I say manufacturing, it's not a physical sport, it's an emotional one. And you need to understand that. The things that people bring to work every day and who they are is the experiences that they had at home the day before and a lifetime before that. They are people. They are not employee numbers. They're an experience of themselves and who they are and what they bring. Everybody's unique. You need to figure out what makes them whistle. And once you do that, you build an alliance. And you can really have a very powerful team member if you support, nurture, and understand who they are, not just what they can do, what makes them tick. If you tell someone to go do something and it's against their principle, you're not going to get performance. But if you understand what their principles are, you could maybe reformat the request in a way that you're going to get the results that you want because you figure out why they're here, what they believe in, what motivates them. And money is not usually, it's usually, oh, you give them more money. That's a very temporary solution. Connect with their why. Why are they here? What are they working for? What are they trying to accomplish? I have this conversation sometimes in private and in nonprofits. The people that work at nonprofits are not highly paid. They're there because of the mission of the business, and they're not highly paid, but that's okay. They enjoy their job because they feel like they're accomplishing something. There's a sense of fulfillment. We need to find that fulfillment in the people that work with you and for you and move it forward for the benefit of everybody, the business and the people. People first. The people benefit, the business benefits. And it's not that hard to do. Motivate someone to be who they are and then take who they are and apply that to all the things that they can accomplish. And you're going to have one heck of a contributor to your team. But whip them harder and harder all you want. All you're going to get is resilience, resentment, and attrition. And doesn't matter what you give them, they won't stay. They'll leave anyways. And who wants to work in that type of place? So I always learn from these mentors or anti-mentors is like, what were all the things that I didn't like about my boss? Can I teach people to be the opposite of that and say, hey, wait a minute. You may not get what you want out of this, but if you take a different approach, you'll get the beginnings of the person you need to accomplish what you want. You've got to make investment in your workforce. And it's not just training, it's how you treat them. Imagine that. There's a zero cost way to improve your team's performance if you just change how you talk to them and how you support them and nurture them as a person. Imagine that. And it doesn't cost anything. I've seen these memes. It's like, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. Well, it doesn't cost anything to do that work either.
Yes, you also mentioned nonprofits. Absolutely, I also have the chance to work with nonprofits very closely. Definitely, I mean, their driving force is their cause, the mission that they have. So that
Yeah,
is
there's
why
a
they are
why
there.
there.
Yes.
And it's bigger than the paycheck. It's what are we trying to achieve as a group? Like we have a mission. Now it's hard to apply that to for-profit and making things, but you can do it. What makes that person show up every day? They're supporting something in their lives. So help them support that.
Let's talk about mentorship programs a little bit. What do you think about mentorship programs, and how will they help next generation to prepare themselves for their career path?
So the number one thing I've learned through getting actual experience is realizing how little I knew when I started my career and how lost I was with the giant. I went to college and I learned everything I need to know. I should be at the top of this mountain. And then as you get older and more wiser, as you could say, all the things that you really didn't know and things you learned along the way. A mentor is a key element to the rapid, I would say, the rapid improvement or the rapid progression of your career. Mentorship and coaches, or they could say life coaches, and all these types of things in the communities of the business world, the private world, the healthcare world. A mentor is a great person in your life that is helping you learn the things that you didn't get to yet. It shortcuts that time frame. And they talk a lot about this in the Tony Robbins programs that I've been part of. And things I've learned is like when you get a mentor, you not only prevent yourself from making that mistake the expensive way, you fast track your success path by, hey, I did this 15 times, kid. I've learned what not to do, and the path that is less painful. So you follow these instructions and you'll get there without experiencing all the things like, the big setbacks and other things, and you'll get there quicker. Everybody needs something like that. And in a manufacturing environment, I see a lot of really hardworking, deserving, amazing people. They started from sometimes literally as a janitor in the business, and now they're plant manager. What an amazing achievement. And they get there by the hard work,
Sure.
dedication, and commitment. And they do it by brute force. And they make a lot of mistakes in the process and they learn from them. And some of them are very expensive and some of them are not so bad. And some you can make disappear and no one notices, right? The little ones. But those individuals, they don't always get a mentor. And I believe that mentorship programs are critical, especially when, imagine if we're successful at onshoring millions of jobs, that's millions of people that need guidance and millions of people that need a mentor and all the managers that are responsible for them. It'd be it'd be a disservice to this community that we're going to try to grow up if we don't give them the support of how to achieve the things that they need to achieve, not just from a professional standpoint, but who they are as a person, and not just the business financials either. Successful people become more useful in their lives as well. You learn skills at work that you apply at home. I use the tools I know in my professional and my personal life. And so these mentorship programs are critical. They're critical for the success of manufacturing. They're critical for the success of business in general in America. You need mentors and all. Like, I'm a manufacturing biased, obviously, but I work with some of the supply chains of software providers and like, uh, what is it like, just office supplies. And like,
Mhm.
you get a salesperson who shows up who's not even prepared, and like, yeah, here's our catalog, and like, who showed you how to engage with the customer? Well, it's my first week. I'm like, did you get any mentor? Because this is painful for both of us. Like, we want to help you, but like, you're not
Yes.
helping us. And make the experience better for the team members by making them a little bit more prepared. Say, hey, when you go into a customer, these are the things you're going to want to know. And a lot of these things are learned through trial and error as you get more seasoned or experienced. So I
Mhm.
think mentorship programs for the next generation to continuously improve who they are, what they do, and what they can become, it's absolutely fundamental. And my partner and I, Massimo, have built a program that would do exactly this, particularly for middle management and manufacturing. Because I see so many great guys and gals. They started on the floor, they were assemblers, now they're plant managers, and the bosses got all these expectations for them to do these things, the KPIs they want to hit, and they're they're a little bit lost sometimes.
Mhm.
It's not that just they don't know what to do, they don't know how to do it, and if they do it, they don't know how to keep it going. It's a special skill set to be in the middle. You have all the responsibilities, very little of the authority, but all of the expectations of ownership and your leaders that say, "Hey, we need you to make this department, 99% on time delivery." Okay, how am I going to do that? Well, I got to make people work overtime. Well, that might get you the solution, but there's going to be a cost to it. And in the long-term cost of burning out employees, making them work weekends. That's not a long-term solution. So you got to figure out what's going on in my organization that I need for them to become mentors themselves. The mentors need mentorship too. Because how do you
Yes.
mentor someone if you have no reference point? So we built
Yes.
a program to do exactly that. And
Yeah, can you tell us about that program, and also some information that also, how our listeners and audience can attend and follow?
sure. So this program, we call it the Manufacturing Roundtable. There's many executive leadership groups for business owners to support them and all their things, but who's helping the guy in the middle that's got to make all the dreams come true for the owner, you could say? So
Mhm.
this is built out for manufacturing companies, the middle managers, helping them learn how to deal with people, how to deal with meeting performance guidelines. Sometimes some of it's going to be technical, some of it's just emotional and people management and coaching them through that. And it's a support community for this group to help them be successful so that they can get promoted into higher levels in their organization and get the compensation increases that they deserve. If we make the business more profitable and they're part of the people that do that, they get a piece of the pie too. So we built this community out called Manufacturing Roundtable to do exactly that. And we have a free seminar we're inviting everyone to on May 2nd for our first open door roundtable event to support the guys in the middle and gals in the middle that need to get it done, the ones that are responsible for that report that, hey, it didn't ship today. Well, why didn't it ship? Well, there's 100 reasons and I don't want to talk about it. It's like, well, those I don't want to talk about it. We're going to talk about that and we're going to help them become successful at their job in ways that no one showed them how to do it. It's sometimes complex and sometimes very simple. And teaching them the skills that I've learned through watching hundreds of organizations do things right and do things wrong. And, you know, manufacturing is very hard. We make it harder with all the rules that we create. And some of these rules do not benefit neither us, the customer, or the employee. What resistance can we take out of the process and a beginning to make the job easier and the goal's more attainable. Not moving the goal to make it easy to hit the goal, like, taking the basketball hoop from 9 feet to 7 feet so you can slam dunk. We're not trying to do that. We want to raise the goal, but remove the resistance to achieving it, because there's all kinds of things in an organization. I've heard every story you could imagine. Yeah, Eric, after we do this training, who's going to help us now? I'm like, that's why this got created. It's like, you know what? They need a coach. They understand the tools now. We taught them what to do, but like I always use the analogy. You have your most successful sports teams have some of the most amazing coaches you can see, right? They're not just business managers. They learn how to get the most out of each and every athlete. Your manufacturing organization is a bunch of high potential athletes that just don't have the right training and tools to be champions. And some do it by luck, some do it by brute force, but we don't need to make it so difficult and complicated. We can make it easier for them, teaching them these tools. So that's why we created it. It's the next step. Here, we trained you on how to do all this stuff. Here's the tools. Here's all the training. You guys are now, you're certified in how to get things done in a lean way. But what comes next? It's long-term coaching and support so that you can achieve your goals. The boss is like, wow, look at this. I'm impressed. And you're like, yeah, that was me. I can do this stuff because I believed in myself and I had the support. I was able to make it happen.
Yes. Well, Eric, I can't believe we already passed 30 minutes barrier. It's amazing. So time flies, but it was actually very educational as always. It was like our first episode. So thank you so much for being with us and sharing your insights and your wisdom with us today.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. I always appreciate it.
My pleasure. And to our audience and to our listeners, thank you very much for being with us. Well, in the beginning, as I mentioned, we on YouTube, we passed 2,000 subscribers already, our first 2,000 and more coming. We truly appreciate your support on YouTube and to our podcast in general. Please follow up our channels, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and also Twitch. And on YouTube, please subscribe, share your thoughts also on YouTube as well. Let's keep it going and make it bigger. At the end of the day, this is your podcast. That's an educational podcast, and we have experts in every episode, just like Eric, and we create an educational podcast every Friday. Thank you very much for being with us, and looking forward to seeing you next Friday. Thank you.
Support for the American Business Podcast for the Next Generation ABP comes from the Marvelous CRM software. The Marvelous CRM software is an AI-powered marketing and business development software. It is for small and mid-sized companies. You can manage your prospects, customers, contacts. You can manage your sales pipelines to increase revenue. You can send unlimited emails. You can also manage and schedule your social media accounts. Moreover, the Marvelous CRM software helps you design your company websites, online stores, and event registration websites on the same platform. The Marvelous CRM software brings you a customer portal for you to manage your customers and members. The Marvelous CRM software is modern, easy to use, secure, and affordable. Subscribe today and close more deals.